welcome to the Performance Analytics Academy today on Wednesday, November 2nd. We're excited to have some new stuff to share with you today. So to remind you, these sessions are for you. They are for you specifically. So we hope that you get and take away a lot from this. We're always available here to answer questions in the we ask that you use the Q&A and not the chat, just because it's a little bit hard to get to everybody in the chat versus the Q&A. So if you can remember to try and use the Q&A, we have panelists with us that will be ready to and available to answer questions. And remember, this is being recorded. It will be shared and posted on the Academy community shortly after this has been closed out. As always, I'm going to remind you of our safe harbor notice. This means don't make any purchases, any business decisions based off of what we share with you today. Some of the stuff might be forward-looking, may not be fully baked into the product, and we don't want you to get into a situation where you make a business decision or purchase based off of what we share today. So just be careful with that, but we are always excited to be sharing new stuff with you. So that's a good thing. Today you have me. I'm Tara Fisher. I will be hosting this, which is basically doing the intro and then handing off to our wonderful presenters today, Vivek and Rajiv, and they will introduce themselves once they get started. But I do want to give a quick plug about what today's session is about. Today we're talking about our C-suite, some really cool looking dashboard type experiences that have been put together for you and are available to you via the store. And they will get into this with you in great detail in a bit. But I do want to highlight that both Vivek and Rajiv are not part of our product management team. They are not developers here at ServiceNow. They're actually part of our IT organization. They use our products in-house to run our own IT infrastructure, and together they have figured out a way to do something really exciting with our own platform. And so that's what makes this something that I love to highlight and share with you, because we have showing you the possibilities, the power of the platform, and stuff that you didn't know maybe you could do. And so that's always exciting, especially when we have our own consumers within the organization coming up with new and fascinating ways to use our product and leverage the tools that we have available. So that's what makes this extra special and near and dear to us. We also have some panelists online today, Adam, Thomas, and Dan, who are ready and available to answer Q&A within the Q&A panel. So if you have something that you need to post, they will be ready and available to help you answer those questions. So today, again, we're talking about management system for C-suite here at ServiceNow. I'm going to go ahead and hand off to Vivek and Rajiv, and hopefully you really enjoyed this, because I'm super excited to be sharing this with you today. And Vivek, Rajiv, the floor is yours.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Rajiv Singh. I've been with ServiceNow for 6 years. And what Vivek and I will present to you today is how are we running ServiceNow? What kind of management system we have created on our own platform, and how we have innovated on our own platform, and are so excited to share it with you. So that's what Vivek and I are going to present today. Over to you, Vivek.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Rajiv. And also thank you, Tara, Thomas, for setting this up, Adam, Stow, and Dan, Kane. Thank you very much for being with us today. So excited to share with you what we have. As Tara has mentioned, we are part of Now Analytics team. And what it means is we take ServiceNow products and we use it for our internal use for ServiceNow. And as part of that, we do innovation, we bring in new things, and this is what we're going to present it today. So before any further ado, let me just showcase you what exactly we're going to talk about. We do not have any slides as such for this presentation, but let me just tee the whole session up with one slide from our CEO, Bill McDermott, where he's sharing his vision about what this CEO dashboard is and the control tower is. This is a dashboard that we have built for Bill to provide him all of the insights, to showcase him how work flows within ServiceNow, how all of our functions come together and achieve the great transformation work that we do. So with that, let me just take you to the slide deck, the actual product that we have, and then show you what we have. So this is the CEO dashboard that Bill uses. All of these functions come together and make the workflow within ServiceNow. There are about 900 odd workflows we have that continuously keep cranking the work at ServiceNow, and there are several instances that keep coming in, coming off, and making that work possible. There's a common theme across all of these functions that we have, and we measure three key aspects, which is speed, productivity, and risk. So each of these metrics that you've seen here, they're all the versions of how fast each of these functions work, what productivity they bring into ServiceNow, and what are all those speed breakers that they need to be really worried about, and that kind of brings it in. Over a period, what we have done is we have created a management system, a culture of accountability, which is what we're going to talk in here mostly. So what I have just shown you is the CEO dashboard, and I'm going to go a little bit deeper in each of these, but just wanted to present you the structure first. The CEO dashboard is then supported by a set of CXO dashboards for each of the function, like technology, HR, general counsel, finance, product, procurement, all of those revenue, security. And then within that, we have several workspaces, several dashboards that support these C functions. And then each of these workspaces are further supported by the workflows. So this is the map that we're going to look at. And this is a knowledge graph that we would be going through in this session. And maybe we'll come back to this and see that we have covered it all. So let's take a look at the CEO dashboard, this one in a little bit more detail. The CEO dashboard, as you've seen, has all of these functions with focusing on speed, productivity, and risk. We can focus on one of these functions and get a little bit deeper. In here, what we'll see is we'll see a technology view of the function. The bubbles in here show the key processes, the key workflows that are in action within the ID function. And we have some metrics that are out here that give a little bit more deeper in terms of speed, in terms of incident resolution, automated issue resolution. The revenue impact and revenue per employee are our productivity metrics that tell us what productivity we have. And then there are these P1s and high-risk issues that we need to be worried about at any time. And as you have seen here, this is a metric that shows a complete end-to-end picture. By what I mean is it gives the past, present, and future view. It tells us what's the value right now, what it has been. The trend shows how is it that we have reached in here. It shows a change of what has been since last. Is it in the correct direction? What should be the target, and where is it going to be? By the way, please note that these are not our real metrics. This is all sample data that's been staged for all customer demos. So any number in here is just a staged number. And then depending upon a metric, whether it is at target or off target, you see a take action button where I can click on it, go over all of these incidents in detail, and even I can click on this incident, really figure it out, what exactly is going wrong with that, and then take the corrective action. Furthermore, you can drill down one more level and get into details of incident management and see, hey, what's exactly happening with incident management. On the right hand side here, we see a graphical representation of the whole incident, how an incident flows from start to end through all of these different stages. Where are where is it that the flow is faster? I imagine this like a Google traffic map and try to really figure it out where bottlenecks are, where things are flowing faster, where things are flowing slower, and where is it that we need to unblock things so that things are all smoother. The left-hand side gives a ready-made list of top 10 areas to focus on, which is based on the total duration. That's a product of average duration and unique occurrences. That's because just by taking average duration is not good enough, and just by taking the volume is also not good enough. So a product of that actually tells us the biggest opportunity we have. So overall, what we see in here is we see a very high level view where we have the whole enterprise view. From there, we see a functional view where we see one function in detail with respect to its processes, a specific metric, an end-to-end past, present, future picture of it, take corrective actions where needed, and also look into the workflow in detail and see where are the systemic problems that need to be unblocked and improved. So this whole of this control tower thus gives CEO as well as all of the execs a complete view of the operations, how things are happening within ServiceNow. Further to that, as I was mentioning you, moving down from the CEO, there are different dashboards that are out there. Let me take a sneak peek at the CIO dashboard that we have. So CIO dashboard is one level down that our CIO Chris Bedi uses, and that focuses on various aspects that are important for running IT as a business. So what we see in here is a structure, and would like to get your focus on that, where there are 5 decision areas that CIO looks at it, which is value, usage, security, execution, and sentiment. These are the 5 aspects that are very important, and there are critical business questions that needs to be answered on a day-to-day basis to make sure we are at par, we are running, we are managing the speed, productivity, and risk for the organization. These metrics that are out there, what we call it as headline row, they answer these questions point blank, straightforward, without any questions, explanations, and all. It's just like simple English question and answer. And then the columns right below provide a little bit more supporting information. For example, here 1.5 billion is the total pipeline contribution that IT has done, not pipeline contribution, total value contribution. And that has a distribution in terms of, okay, how much of it is from pipeline, how much of it is the actual NNACV closure revenue impact, and all of the cost savings that we have been doing. Similarly, this is on the usage part, where there are a lot of products and applications we bring into our employees. Are they using it? Which of them are heavily used? Which of them are not heavily used? Where are the opportunities for consolidation, optimization, and all of those decisions happening there? Similarly, on the security side, besides the high-risk issues, P1 incidents that you saw on the control tower, there is a breakage of all of these issues across various bands. And also on the execution, these are all key strategic projects that we run within ServiceNow to make sure these cost impact keeps happening and we keep improving our operations. And these are all the projects, their status. And sentiment finally is, what is it that customers, employees, partners are thinking about all of the services and products that we provide. And this is done more often. The employee sentiments is a cycle that we follow twice a year, and all of those metrics speak in. And then each of these tabs are a further breakdown of all of these metrics, like value. On the usage, we have usage and adoption metrics across all of the products. Security has a full spectrum in terms of what's the overall risk exposure, what risks have materialized into issues, how are we patching vulnerabilities, what's our product security, and how are our employees prepared in terms of security best practices, and how we can fend off any security attack if that might happen. Like execution is a double click on what we saw in the execution vertical, wherein we see end-to-end picture in terms of what are all the projects, how is our DevOps transformation working, are we focusing where we need to focus on in terms of our priorities, also what exactly are our products, and then down below you see each of these products, their status, red, yellow, green, and you can even click on any of these products and get to the project status report and really see why is this project yellow and what is it that I need to do to get it back to green. And finally, sentiments, which is again the customer experience, employee experience, as well as internal employee sentiment, which is more on from a HR focus as well as functional focus we have. So with that, I mean, we have a CIO dashboard. Similarly, we have several other dashboards. This is a dashboard we have for our general counsel, Russ. He uses it to make sure all of the legal operations are at par. We have similar one for our people officer. This is Jackie Kinney's dashboard, where she takes care and figures out, are we growing, developing the resources the way we want? Do we have the right diversity? Are we empowering? And are we rewarding the people? And similarly, I can keep going on. There's a finance dashboard, revenue officer's dashboard, procurement officer's dashboard, product officer's dashboard, as well as digital officer dashboard. And we also have a dashboard that we take it to the board, which is a net summary of all of these CXO dashboards that we showcase for our regular board that Bill uses to present this to board. So with that, what I'm trying to say is we have a system of and culture of accountability as part of these dashboards. The structure, as I was mentioning, which is having the decision areas, the metrics that answers those critical questions, is a mechanism by which we make sure there is an accountability. Each of these metrics, they feed up to some other higher level metrics at a C level as well as CEO level, and that creates that culture. I could take a quick pause in here, would like to go into the workflow space and talk about the process optimization part of it, but I'm seeing several activities out there on the chat. Are there any questions that I need to be looking at this time?
I just want to clarify something really quick for you there, Vivek. While the app is free, it does require a performance analytics license. So can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Absolutely, yeah. That was something I was going to cover. So the CEO dashboard and CIO dashboard, or the CXO dashboard, they're available in the store and as a store app, and they're free. What do we mean is the app itself is free, but as you see, each of these app has these metrics, and they're all fueled by performance analytics. So it is assumed that you have performance analytics, and as a part of this performance analytics, you'll be able to leverage these dashboards. The idea is it took some time for us to get to this culture of accountability, the structured set of metrics and the cadence to be built in. We wanted to, accelerate that path and make you get to this faster. And that's the whole purpose of creating these apps. And these are easy to install, configure. And once you install, you will be able to change any of this decision area, the business critical questions that you have, any of the metrics that you have, and you can plug in your own performance analytics metrics behind. You can configure it, build that in, and have this ready for you. Yes, it requires, for example, when you get this CIO dashboard out of the box, this is how it would look for you. You'll have a value tab, and you can decide how you define the value out of it. But then there are some tabs on operations, which is mostly coming up from the ITOM, ITSM, ITAM, and all of those products that you have. The metrics you'll see in here are just purely based on all of those KPIs that you have by default, that you get it with those products, and those would just show up in here. So incident, request, change, CMDB, asset, everything would come in. SecOps will get into the security tab. So essentially, you would need performance analytics, ITSM, ITOM, ITAM, SecOps, and SPM. Those are the 5 products you need. With those 5 products, this dashboard would come in. But even if you do not have, suppose, SPM, or maybe you do not have ITAM, if you have something else, you can have a performance analytics indicator and just plug this in here, and you can have whatever tabs you want and get these things done.
Hey, Vivek, as part of the offering that they get from the store, is it just the infrastructure on how to structure this, or does it actually come with some pre-configured PA KPIs that you suggest, or is it just here's the infrastructure, load it with your own KPIs?
Yeah, it is. It comes with these metrics. What I'm trying to say is, when you have ITAM, for example, or ITSM, and as part of ITSM performance analytics, you get performance analytics content packs. And with those performance analytics content packs, you get this mean time to resolve, percent SLA breach, request backlog growth. These metrics, these key performance analytics metrics, are available to you by default. And those are the metrics that are just pulled in here and shown here. So it all comes up with the metrics, and all you have to do is run those data collection jobs behind the scene so that you'll start seeing these numbers in here. I hope that answers the question. And then once you have it, if instead of SLA breached, if you want to see what are the incidents with SLA due next week, and you want to show that in here, you could just replace this metric with that, and make that your management system, depending upon where your focus is and what your business outcomes you're expecting at. All right. So with that, let me now pivot into the process optimization, this whole workflows integration that we have done. So as we were building and creating those incident workflows that you have seen in here, there are a lot of workflows that we see in here, and each of these workflows we have done integrated with the C-suite on the workflows tab in here. What we see here is a catalog of workflows, and we have then grouped them by different functions, and with each of these functions we see specific things. One is, besides the regular workflow information, these are the key metrics, which is the number of cases open, that talks about the volume of the activity with this workflow. The cycle time talks about the speed part of it, along with its target. And then the thing is, you could just click on any of these processes, and this will take you to our process optimization workspace, where you'll be able to see this process in more detail in the native view of process optimization, where you'll be able to do more slicing and dicing, really figure it out, do some more analysis, and see how things are working in. You have different ways where you can refine those connections, you can apply different filters, and you'll be able to do more analysis. The idea was just to show that there is an integration between the workflows as well as our C-suite dashboard. Let me go back. All right. I think I got on to. Let me just pull it out in here. So along with the workflows, we also have integration with continuous improvement management. By that, what I mean is with each of these processes, when you identify the bottlenecks, you would certainly want to improve those bottlenecks. And that happens via continuous improvement initiatives that get created. For example, here we need to reduce the cycle time by 15%. And continuous improvement management is another product that we have within the suite, which helps us systematically create improvement initiatives, track them, and get to the desired improvement that you're looking for. So with that, we have all of the workflows, all of the dashboards, the management system, the complete set of business objectives, KPIs lined up with that. And then there is a way where you can drill down to a specific transaction and get the action taken for a specific thing, as well as look at the whole process in a more systemic view and try to fix issues in your process, in your workflow, and get them better so that we get the desired speed, desired productivity, and we take care of all of the risks that we are in. So that's a complete perspective of what we have built with ServiceNow products. To summarize, we have used, as you see, the next experience, all of these dashboards, the UI that you see, it's all built in using Now Experience. Performance analytics is the key product where all of these metrics are built in that are shown up on this UI. It's all the platform capabilities, and process optimization is what we used for mining all of the workflows we have, building into all of these initiatives, and continuous improvement management to take care of all of those improvement initiatives, drive them to closure, and achieve the desired speed and productivity we need.
Vivek, may I just add some color to what you just said?
Please, Raju. Yeah.
So folks, the way to look at a management system informs the C-suite about what is happening. Those are the KPIs that Vivek actually showed you across different dashboards that we have built. Why is it happening is what the process mining or process optimization answers. So if we take an example, when Vivek actually talked about, incident resolution velocity was 189 hours last month. It is in red. It's not good, right? Why is it 189 hours is the part which is addressed by mining that process. And we have a process mining view of why it is happening, where are the bottlenecks, which steps are taking the maximum time. And once we identify that, then the third question that comes is, okay, we know what is happening. We know why it is happening. The third question is, what are we going to do about it? And that's the part where Vivek was showing the continuous improvement management. That is how we close the loop here at ServiceNow. So in net, what is happening, why it is happening, and what are we going to do about it? This is the loop that we have created for our C-suite and executive management. That's the management system that Vivek just presented to you.
That's awesome. This is really exciting stuff. Do we have any more questions? I'd like to open it up for questions now. Was that all you had to demo, Vivek?
Yes, Sarah, that is pretty much it. And we're here for getting into any other questions that you might have. Yep.
We took a lot of questions in the Q&A. So if anyone, I don't know if you want to open it up, Thomas, how you want to do that so that we can have people actually ask. Oh, we got another question. You mentioned several out-of-the-box metrics that should be available by default. We're trying to consolidate and clean up the metrics we have available in our environment. Do you have any recommendation to filter between out-of-the-box metrics and custom ones we may have created? That may be more of an Adam question. Adam?
Can I just suggest something here before?
Yeah, absolutely.
Adam?
Yeah.
So, Quinton, here is what we would recommend. Okay, we are not creating, or you are not creating, a daily operational report that a line manager uses. So what we would recommend is to use the decision model that you are seeing on this dashboard that Vivek is displaying right now. If you see, we have pillars, and then we have questions, and then we have some metrics. The model that we use internally is saying what decisions we want to make, what questions we need answered, what metrics will answer those questions, and then we get into the data that will power that metric. So tactically, you can go and clean up your metrics and what you have out of the box and the custom ones. What we would recommend, that approach it from the point of what questions you want answered, and then whether it is an out of the box metric or one of your existing custom metric, it's for you to decide.
Yep. And thanks, Rajiv. And just wanted to add one more thing is, as far as this CIO dashboard is concerned, the value tab is the only tab that has metrics that are custom metrics, and all of the other tabs have and I think a part of it from experience, but everything else is from the content packs that we have. Those are the metrics that are available out of the box. But having said that, just for an information piece, like Rajiv has mentioned, the focus is not on out of the box versus custom metrics. The focus is what are the business outcomes and what metrics you need to answer those business questions.
Right. Part of this, though, I think is just a broader platform question on keeping your metrics clean. You know, Quinton, we recommend some governance around when you're creating new KPIs within the platform. Use standard naming conventions. So if you're creating indicators based off of incident, use some sort of prefix that makes it clear what the objective is. Also, when there are reports that you can write using just standard reporting that'll allow you to capture what application the indicator came from. So if it comes from one of our out of the box content packs, you'll know right away whether or not you pulled that from a content pack or if it was something that you created. So there's you
won't know that anymore.
Oh,
I'm sorry. In the store you can't.
Oh, in the store you can't.
Yeah, okay. And I mean, I'll add in don't create something until you know it's not there. Look at what's out of the box. Some of the older stuff was really basic and you had to enhance it. The newer stuff is really good. So make sure you're looking at what comes out of the box. The real deviation is the out of the box metrics are for out of the box processes, for out of the box fields. Right. So I expect if you add a new field, you might be adding new breakdowns, but be really careful when you're adding new out of the box indicators for things that are already out of the box processes. You may need to do it, and that's fine. Not everything is completely perfect, or not everybody sees the world they want to see it, but really make sure you look at what comes out of the box and then see what you need to add. At this point, I assume there are good indicators and I can use out of the box rather than having to create my own. It's one of the advantages you get. If you're not leveraging all the out of the box content, then you're not getting the full advantage of ServiceNow, right? That's one of the things we bring, is that as we're developing the apps, we're developing the KPIs for them. So make sure you're looking at that. It's actually gonna in the store apps, in the scoped apps, it's quite difficult to tell what's custom and what's not. I always have a PDI, the personal developers, and so I can go compare to what's out of the box and what's not. It's also something that I like to do when we upgrade. I'll go look at a PDI and I'll Z-boot my PDI, reset it to the current instance and install it and make sure I know everything that's in there. We never like to change things from underneath you. But in the analytics world, we just really, really don't like to do that. So for you to make sure you're taking advantage of all the latest and greatest, sometimes you have to go look at what's a new latest and greatest look like, and then decide if you want to implement that. So it's a world we have to manage. It's something we have to look at, but make sure you're very, very thoughtful.
Yeah, so Adam, I have a kind of a thought on that because I mean I generally recommend creating the customers when they create their own content that they are using that they're creating their own application scopes for them for that as much as possible, not using global, and that can be an easy way to help keep it straight to say
Sure.
anything that's in one of my X underscore application
Hey,
scopes I know is
yeah,
but you
creating
say
analytic scopes is a great idea to manage it. There's so many advantages we get from being able to use source control or the app repo, understanding instant scans by the scope. Great point, Dan. Using your own dedicated analytics scope that matches a store app or global or whatever it is, you're fine.
mhm.
In general, let's just not create anything more in global. If you use a global app, if you use an app in the global scope, I'm okay with that. I have come to terms with that myself. I have lots of meditating on that. But scoped apps are by far the way to go. We should be able to do everything we want to do with PA in that. It's going to make your life better. It's different than many of us started with, but it's way better.
Yeah, can you
So-
now you said with the store apps there's some differences in the applications. What can you elaborate on that? Because I know one of my best friends when I'm working with PA content is adding the application and package columns to my indicator list, to my indicator source list, and so forth.
So the real quick answer is for those of us who I'm assuming the vast majority of us live in an ITSM world, or at least we visit ITSM in a very
ITSM
frequently.
adjacent. Yep.
Yeah. We all know where that lives. So the most or many of the ITSM applications, incident problem change, a lot of the ITBM ones are plugin based and in the global scope. Plugin doesn't mean you're in the global scope, but the older stuff is that predate scopes. Store apps and scoped apps. So customer service management is a plugin, but it's in a scope. When you create something, if I go into the CSM scope and I create something, I create a new indicator source, a new breakdown, whatever it is I create, it's going to go into the CSM scope. And the application is CSM and the package is CSM. When you're in a scoped app and definitely in a store app, the package and the scope match. I believe every time you're in a scope, the package will always be the scope. If you're in global, which
true,
again,
yeah.
incident is a good example, the package will be the plugin, but the application will be global. And one of my goals is that we're not creating anything more in the global application. We just don't need to.
Yeah.
And
Good
it's
point.
how we lived when we only had one thing, but we all have multiple applications now, multiple things going on. And if we don't today, we're going to in another year, right? There's so much that's living and breathing and going on in ServiceNow to make that easier to manage. And we've been on these calls before. And we've talked about everybody talks about how do I make it easier to manage using applications and scoped apps specifically. And there are global applications as well that are in the global scope, but in an application. Using applications is what we are all looking for. In a scoped application, we can have different permissions. So Vivek can manage the HR analytics, and Thomas can manage the ITSM, and Dan can manage the security analytics. And we're never going to step on each other. I don't worry about you changing my jobs. It can just be much easier to manage. And then again, we can move everything through the app repo. We can use source control. I can run instant scan just on Dan's stuff because I know he's still learning. He's only been doing this for 7 or 8 years for PA. And someday he'll get it right.
Someday I'll get it. Yeah.
Someday. But you want to use that. And again, the difference is what you're going to see is the application being global. That's what we used to do. It's what we used to have to do. Too many of us still do it. So let's look at using an application, whether it's scoped or global. Scoped is better. We get better security in it, but a global application gives us a lot of the benefits for virtually no additional overhead. We can actually work the exact same way. We're just going to select saying all the work I'm doing right now, I want to go into this application. And sorry, I didn't say it specifically. Once you get past the applications, you don't have to deal with update sets. And I know we all love update sets, and they're incredibly intuitive and easy to use and manage, but applications are way better. We still can use update sets if we want to. Some of us still need to for a couple cases, I think, or organizations are more geared to them, but applications are going to make your life easier.
Hey, let me ask you this since you're on a roll. I did mark this as answer live, but I was just answered live, meaning asking you, can we actually install stuff from the store on our PDI?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought so, but I didn't. I all of a sudden started questioning myself.
Yeah. Everything from ServiceNow in the store should be, you should be able to install into a PDI. I don't know of any exceptions. And if it is, we'll probably fix it. The partners, anything from third parties, from our partners, that I believe is blocked because that's their stuff. We can't do that. But I believe you should be able to install anything from the store, from ServiceNow in the store and the PDI. And you're just going to go to the application manager. You'll go to system applications, all applications, and it should just be there. You should just be able to see it and install it. There's no license checking on PDIs. So you should be able to go install the stuff. It'll work just like it does. It's a couple of things outside of the analytics space that don't work on PDIs. Yeah, I mean, if you don't have a PDI, go get a PDI. We're saying we can't use this research.
What is the life expectancy of a PDI? So
as long as you keep using it, they go to sleep after a certain point in time. As long as you keep using it, you have it. If you don't use it, it'll go to sleep. At some point, it'll be reclaimed. If you don't log in for I don't know what the time frame is, whether it's 2 weeks or 2 months at this point. But at some point, we reclaim them. But as long as you're logging in, you'll get them. PDIs, just to be clear too, the personal developer instances, we don't notify you every time we have maintenance. It'll be posted, but it's not a production instance. Yeah, it's not a production instance. There can be maintenance, there can be outages that come through. Yeah, so make sure you're trying to run anything in development or in production on those, but they are great for a lot of the things that we're doing, where we can just go in and see what it looks like new, press a button and zboot it. I'm not going to zboot my company's instance, but I'll zboot my PDI. Makes me feel clean and fresh.
okay.
All right, looks like there are 2 more questions out there about installing process optimization plugin as well as installing stuff on the store. Looks like Padmanabhan, you already answered that question. Yeah, it requires all of the underlying plugins also to be installed on the PDI. Like if you want to use ITSM performance analytics indicator, then you would first have to enable ITSM plugin, get all of those content packs, install those indicators, and then they'll start showing it up on the dashboard here.
So I know we used to in our content packs, and I say used to because I'm not sure anymore. We used to list what other plugins that content pack was dependent on. Do we still do that? So that, like in Quentin's case, he would know what else he needed to install in order to be able to access all the resources. Is that true? Do you know anyone?
So for a content pack that's a plugin, we're just going to install the dependencies. They're listed, but we just install them. From the store apps, it's different. It's different. And Vivek, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. I'm assuming right now it's not going to do it because if we list them, you wouldn't be able to install it. The store apps behave slightly differently than the plugins. Again, the plugins just install what you have, which can put you out of compliance. It's fine. There's a little bit of nuance, and this is getting improved right now. We're working on it. But in the store app, I'm hoping we can just install it and some things won't work.
Yeah, that's true, Adam. What we have done is we have made these apps more forgiving, and even if you do not have a required plugin, it's out there. It will go ahead and install and get that to you, hoping that you would implement and install all of the dependent plugins at a later point in time. The installation document calls out all of the dependent plugins that are required to be installed. in a very standard specific manner, and also calls out for any licensing discussions you might have to have with your AEs to make sure you have all of the prerequisites that are called out there.
And this one's a little odd because the CEO dashboard expects that you license virtually. I don't want to say virtually. I think that it expects that you license every product that we sell at ServiceNow.
Yeah, so
I would love for you to have licenses for everything we sell at ServiceNow, but I know some of us aren't there yet. So to make sure that you can get it, we just had to make sure that you can install it even if you don't have those licenses. That is different than most things. If you buy an app from us, you're buying all the child apps, right? You're licensing all the dependencies. Generally, this dashboard's a little bit different.
Yeah, and I just wanted to add one distinction, Adam, to that. There are two apps we have. One is the CEO dashboard and CIO dashboard. As I mentioned, this CIO dashboard, sorry, this one, this one. So this CIO dashboard that we have, this is heavily dependent upon all of those 5 applications: ITSM, ITAM, ITOM, SecOps, and SPM, and the performance analytics content packs that come in along with that. So all of these metrics are sourced and based on those packs. But the control tower that we're talking about, this is more of a structure. There is nothing like a customer success app or a package that we have. There's nothing like a legal package. We have no content pack or nothing. So anything that comes in and this goes into this function, this is more of a structure that is available to you, where you will be able to figure it out what your functions are, how do you measure speed and productivity, and what risks you need to take care of that. All it requires is a performance analytics indicator behind the scene to come up and take this place. Instead of sales contract review velocity, if your legal has some different metrics that to show in there, that's what it comes here. So CEO dashboard is just a structure. All it requires is performance analytics and all of these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 KPIs defined per function. So as long as you have some 64, 68 functions that are out there, you're all set. All you need is this 69 KPIs. And each of these links below, they're also configurable. So if you have any other dashboard that you want to fork the execs from as they see these functions, you will be able to get that. And that could be any of your other performance analytics dashboard that you have. So that's the distinction. So no licensing or packaging required in here, like CIO dashboard, but all it requires is performance analytics and UI builder and process optimization. Process optimization is not part of this app though, but yeah.
Vivek, and I know we only have a couple minutes, but you don't have an instance that has this with pre-configured, do you? That just shows you blank?
No, there is nothing. The app itself is the one. It doesn't have blank, but it just has some baseline out there that you can replace, and that's exactly it's the app. This now instance is the instance where we have staged all of these apps in for demos, but there isn't like a PDI or something that we have where this is staged where it is blank and such.
Do you guys see the question that came in? I think it's
Really.
Okay.
Yeah, even if it is a partner account, you could still get it, install it. These are made available as part of the innovation lab on the Now Store. As a result, the support that you get is limited and not like a full-fledged support that you will get for all of the other licensed product. This is part of innovation lab. This is a free app that we have. As a result, the support is very limited. You would have to go through your account executive and reach out to us. We, which is the Now team, Rajiv, me and our team, will be able to help you out in getting these apps installed, and if you have any questions to get those answers. That's the support model we have.
Just to add some more clarity on this one, we would highly encourage you to go and look at our supportability, what we provide. on the innovation lab, which is very, very minimal. And it follows our company policy of innovation lab offerings, which are what we are innovating. So in NetNet, you cannot go and create a support ticket for this one. For more details, please look at our app store and you'll find more details there.
All right, Mike, I see your question about the ServiceNow ID not working. I think we'll have to take that offline and work with your account executive as to know what's happening. Do you have access to the store, and are you able to log in there? So we'll have to take that offline.
By the way, I'm just following up. I'm in my PDI right now, and I don't see the CEO dashboard being available. I'm going to follow up and figure out what do we need to do to make that happen. I don't know if Innovation Lab doesn't show up or not. That's a possibility. So as far as I can tell right now, you can't install this on a PDI. You cannot do that, but I will take a look and how do we make that available to you.
Thanks, Adam. Let's look into that. Yeah, you need specific rules to see this dashboard. I see Padmanabhan is already answering that. Maybe he'll cover in that. And the required roles are also mentioned in the installation document. As you install this app and provide the required roles, users will be able to see this.
Yeah, I think we're asking someone also about, if I have this dashboard, if I've installed this dashboard, will I be able to get to it from the platform analytics workspace? That's new with Tokyo. I believe that's what you were asking there, because I talked about the PA workspace. And so just to clarify that, UI builder content, whether it's data visualizations and that, are not the same as the what we call kind of the inline editor or the standard visualizations that you get to with that are the primary uses from platform analytics workspace. So they're really not intended to be mix and match between those. So someone would need specifically to have a role to do UI builder editing to be able to work with these dashboards at all. Not to view, but just to edit them. Yeah.
Well,
Good
thank you
questions.
very much. Yeah, this has been an amazing session. And like we said before, this will be posted to our community. You will be able to get access to this recording as well as the content that was shared with you today. So thank you so much, everybody, for your time today. This was fabulous. Thank you so much, Vivek and Rajiv. As always, it's exciting to see our own employees using our products so that our customers can see the art of the possible and really begin to understand the so many things that the ServiceNow platform is capable of. If there's anything you didn't get to ask or your question wasn't properly answered, you can always reach out to go to the platform community where we have these posted and post a question, and we'll be happy to answer that there. Thank you, everyone, for your time today. Have a great day.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Tara, and Tom, Adam, everyone. Thanks for the nap and Rajiv too.